There she blows! But guess what, guys? If you haven't noticed, we're in a spaceship, and something isn't quite right about this nautical metaphor because that thing over there, the great gigantic beast flapping about near a black hole, has got massive tentacles, a beak, and it's also the size of an asteroid. Forget about the scourge of the seven seas, the Kraken, the mythical tentacular monster that has plagued salty sailors for thousands of years and been the basis for more shanties than you can sing in a single sitting, because we can do you one better. We can go to space, the Void Kraken, and holy moly, when we turn our civilization toward the stars, we better hope to high heaven that these monstrosities are purely fictional. So let's find out. Hello internet, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. As per usual, I'll be your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finches. Today we curiously asked the question, what if Void Krakens were real? Roll the clip.
I see it, I see it.
We do! The cave is collapsing!
No cave.
What?
For the curious amongst you, that clip was from 1980 Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, arguably the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. And really, if we're outlining the cosmic parameters of this hypothetical question, forget about those giant space slugs, because even the most bizarre creation in the Star Wars universe would be put to shame by these colossal hulking void beasts in question. Still though, I mean, it's pretty important to visually demonstrate the scale of these things, you know, for our imagination's sake. And the truth is, this one is going to take quite a huge capacity for the human imagination, because Void Krakens are just as much a mystery to their given franchise as they are to the hypothetical notion of them being real. And you know what that means, right? We've got free reign for speculation. The thing is though, before we shoot off to the stars, we should outline just exactly what we do know about the fictional Void Krakens. You see, if you know anything about the grim darkness of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, then you may be familiar with the name of the beast in question. For those of you that don't know, Warhammer 40k is a fictional universe which portrays humanity as a highly advanced technological civilization known as the Imperium of Man, who tens of thousands of years in the future fight against a myriad of other civilizations of Chaos, Tyranids, Orcs, Eldar, Necrons, and many others. You see, whilst Warhammer 40k depicts the Imperium of Man having dominated the Milky Way for the last 10,000 years, and yet, like any other final frontier, there are still unexplored portions of the galaxy that remain. One of those is the Krakens expanse, and here is where our terrifying gigantic space squids would seemingly linger in the great eternal darkness. But to first bear witness to these creatures, let me introduce you to what the Imperium of Man refer to as rogue traders, uniquely positioned, incredibly powerful figures whose sole purpose is to explore the unexplored in large, city-like, absolutely massive spaceships that essentially function completely independently. You see, a rogue trader is a unique figure in the grim darkness of the Imperium, and for humanity to stumble upon Void Krakens in the far-flung future, then it would likely be by means of a similar sort of vessel. The thing is, the first and most important point to this hypothetical notion is that Void Krakens could indeed very much exist out in the infinite cosmic confines of the universe. As we've said time and time again, in an infinite universe, anything is possible. But for us to get to that point, we'd have to have first reached a point as a spacefaring human civilization that functions in a similar sort of fashion to the Imperium of Man. Well, I mean, it's either that or Star Trek Voyager. But on that point, it's merely a matter of preference. Quick hint though, I'd probably pick Star Trek if you're in the business of, well, staying alive and surviving. They don't call it the Grim Darkness for nothing, after all. And on that point, now that we've set the means of how the Void Kraken could be real and thus be discovered, let's look at just exactly what we'd be dealing with. In the Rogue Trader Bestiary, Deckmaster Cybin Little describes the Void Kraken as twice the size of the biggest asteroid he ever did see, all stone and teeth and tentacles like some nightmare staring us right in the face. In fact, the captain and the rest of his crew mistook the Void Kraken for a moon. But before they knew better, it was too late. The fact of the matter is though, in the canon of Warhammer 40k, the true physiology and nature of the Void Kraken are largely unknown, even to the most well-travelled explorers of the Krakens expanse and the forgotten corners of the galaxy. I mean, if we take the mythological Earth-based oceanic Kraken as an example, it's safe to assume that these creatures would be incredibly rare. But whatever the truth of the origins of the Void Krakens are, a number of key facts would need to be true for them to be hypothetically real. You see, the real question is, what would it take for an alien creature to be able to survive in the dark, vacuous expanse of space. Now obviously there are huge gaps in our hypothetical logic here, but almost certainly the Void Kraken would have to be some form of silicon-based life form to exist in the vacuum of space without blood, without true bone, or without any type of vital fluids to keep them alive. It kind of goes without saying, but carbon-based life as we know it doesn't tend to do well without those things, and our knowledge on the anatomy of space squids is pretty damn limited, to say the least. But there are other parameters that the Void Kraken would have to satiate for it to hypothetically be real. They'd have to be able to exist on solar light or radiation, given that there are virtually zero other energy sources for it to feed on. They'd have to conserve their mass incredibly carefully, given the fact that matter isn't exactly abundant in space and hard to obtain. There's also the fact that Void Krakens most likely wouldn't breed, given the immensity of space and the near zero chance of them stumbling upon a partner to mate with, and on top of that, complex life forms don't just pop into existence, and there'd have to be some kind of evolutionary path for the Void Krakens to have taken to even be there in the first place. However, Warhammer 40k provides a tentative truth for all of these biological issues that spell incredibly bad news for our elaborate fictional spacefaring species. You see, it is widely agreed that in the grim darkness of the Krakens expanse, Void Krakens essentially answer all of these questions by feasting on the ruins of space debris. And if you couldn't tell, space debris, whilst primarily being the ore and rocks most often found in the asteroids of the universe, also means spaceships. So not only would we have had to have evolved to the point of being a spacefaring civilization that has explored the further extremities of our galaxy already, which would require highly advanced city-sized vessels to do so, upon discovery of the hypothetical Void Kraken, we'd have just as quickly become its most important food source. The phrase "out of the frying pan and into the fire" kind of comes to mind, just on a, well, on a cosmic scale, I guess. The point is, Void Krakens, or a creature similar to the Void Kraken, could certainly hypothetically exist in the infinite magnitude of space. Astoundingly enough, if we agree that alien life does indeed reside somewhere else in the universe, then it is possible to speculate on a silicon-based life form that eats rocks to sustain itself. The real question is, what would it take for us to discover this type of life form? Would it take us another 38,000 years to truly find out if Void Krakens are real or not? If that's the case, and we can hypothetically speculate on their existence, then maybe we should start planning how to not get eaten by a Void Kraken. After all, a lot can happen in 38,000 years. Yeah, that kind of sounds like a better idea. Thank me later. Well, there we have it, our long and short answer to the question, what if Void Krakens were real? What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree, have any more to add? Then let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as any other intriguing insights on the matter. Before we depart from today's video though, let's first take a quick look at some of your more creative comments from over the past few days. Poppin' Jimbo says, "My face when this is not canon and yet these normies think it's canon." Hi Poppin' Jimbo, canon is spelt with one N. Thanks. And finally, Ace Nunez says, "This guy has learned so much on this stuff, he can make tons of horror movies." Yeah, you're quite right there, Ace Nunez, actually. Keep your eyes peeled, Void Kraken movie coming out in the year 40,000. Hey, it's a good job disembodied floating voices don't age, right? Well, on that note, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for in today's video. Just stick around all the way until the end. If you were a fan of this video, or just Life's Biggest Questions in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finch. You've been watching Life's Biggest Questions, and until next time, you take it easy.